Willow's mind unravels. A General Hospital descent into darkness. Port Charles has always been a town teetering on the edge of emotional devastation and startling revelations, but few stories in recent memory have struck such a haunting chord as the unraveling of Willow Tate. Once a symbol of quiet resilience and maternal devotion, Willow's world has spiraled into chaos following her devastating loss in court, a legal blow that saw her stripped of custody over both Wiley Corinthos and Amelia Corinthos. What began as quiet sorrow has now evolved into a full-blown psychological crisis, leaving many to question just how much of Willow remains, and who may be stepping into her place. The breakdown was not immediate, but the signs had been there, subtle at first: the sudden fatigue, the absent gazes, the sharp shifts in mood. It wasn't until she was discovered unresponsive and was admitted to General Hospital that the pieces began to align. Doctors cited exhaustion and emotional trauma, but whispers began circulating among the staff and family that something far more sinister could be surfacing beneath her tranquil exterior. The word dissociative was uttered more than once in hushed tones. Could Willow be suffering from dissociative identity disorder? Could the trauma of loss and suppressed guilt have fractured her psyche, unlocking a side of her long buried, or never acknowledged? The speculation gained disturbing momentum when comparisons to her notorious twin sister, Nell Benson, began to re-emerge in the media and within the Corinthos family circle. Nell, unhinged, dangerous, and long thought to be gone for good, left behind a legacy of pain that Willow had spent years trying to rise above. But in an ironic twist of fate, the town now looked at Willow with a similar wariness once reserved for her twin. Whispers among friends turned to pointed accusations. "She's just like Nell." Some went further. "No, she's worse." And those words, like a needle scraping the edges of sanity, seemed to lodge themselves deep in Willow's mind. It was during the week of June 16 to 20 that the connections between Willow and Nell's shared past, and Michael's entanglement in both women's lives, resurfaced in uncomfortable clarity. Years ago, Willow married Michael Corinthos to help him retain custody of Wiley, keeping the boy away from his birth mother, Nell. Now, ironically, Willow finds herself on the other side of that same narrative. Stripped of her rights and watching Michael grow closer to Sasha and their newest child, Daisy, the mirrors became impossible to ignore. Was this justice? Karma? Or something even more psychologically damaging, a complete identity rupture? Daisy, barely old enough to grasp the volatility unfolding around her, has suddenly become the focus of a deeply unsettling subplot. A series of eerie events have unfolded, beginning with a brief disappearance from the hospital nursery. The incident was brushed off by hospital staff, including Lucas Jones, who claimed the child was never truly missing, but a shadow looms over that account. Security footage mysteriously failed to capture the exact moment of Daisy's absence, and viewers were left with the lingering image of an unidentified figure watching the baby share a moment of joy with Sasha, Michael, Wiley, and Amelia. The figure didn't approach, not then. But they were there. Watching. Waiting. Later, reports emerged of someone lurking in Daisy's nursery. The door was ajar, the mobile above her crib slightly askew, and a nurse claimed to smell an unfamiliar scent, a particular floral perfume not worn by any of the staff. That same evening, Willow was discovered passed out in a nearby corridor. Coincidence? Or something far more chilling? As speculation continues to swirl, a new theory has captured the attention of General Hospital fans and mental health experts alike. Willow is no longer alone in her own body. The persona known only as Nell, or what some believe to be a psychological manifestation of her twin, may be surfacing during dissociative episodes. Not hallucinations, but an actual splintered identity born from trauma, regret, and a festering sense of injustice. When Willow collapsed near the nursery, was she simply tired, as she told Drew Kane? Or had she just emerged from a blackout state, one in which Nell took over? Further complicating the issue is the intense emotional cocktail that surrounds Michael and Sasha's new family unit. As the two of them settle into parenthood, Willow has been forced to watch from the sidelines, grieving not only the loss of her children, but the collapse of the future she envisioned with Michael. She was the one who fought, who endured cancer and courtrooms, all for the sake of her children. And yet, in the end, the narrative has turned against her. Could that injustice be the spark that reawakened something dark, or created something altogether new? It doesn't help that Willow's entire identity has been built on control and virtue. She prided herself on being the calm, centered counterpoint to Nell's chaos. But when control slips and identity is questioned, especially in a woman already fractured by illness and betrayal, the mind seeks escape, sometimes by breaking itself apart. Some psychologists argue that DID is a rare but very real coping mechanism, especially among those with unresolved trauma, guilt, and repressed rage. And Willow, despite all appearances, is drowning in all three. Drew Kane, now her fiancé, has struggled to navigate the waves of her emotional instability. His attempts to provide support have been met with inconsistency, warm one moment, distant the next. In recent scenes, he's been seen questioning whether Willow is still the woman he fell in love with, or if she's slipping into someone unrecognizable. He's begun consulting with medical professionals at GH, asking for evaluations under the guise of stress assessments. But the results may point to something far more concerning. As the town buzzes with rumors and Michael faces his own unraveling, thanks in part to renewed threats from the legal system and a growing suspicion that someone is targeting his children, the question looms: is Willow the victim, or the threat? The resemblance to Nell isn't just genetic anymore. The mannerisms, the unpredictability, the obsessive glances at Daisy, all eerily reminiscent of her sister's final days in Port Charles. Could it be that, in trying so hard not to become Nell, Willow opened the door to her? Or, perhaps more hauntingly, has Nell found a way to live on, within Willow? There are no clear answers, yet. But one thing is certain: the woman once seen as the town's tragic heroine may now be its most dangerous wildcard. Port Charles is no stranger to darkness, but few shadows cut as deeply as those that stem from within the soul. As the lines blur between memory and madness, love and possession, mother and monster, Only time will tell which version of Willow will emerge next. And whether Port Charles is ready for her.